Hey everybody, welcome to the MomPod. I am your host, Brooke Johnson, and I'm super excited because I have a big announcement that my best friend Sam is officially coming on as a co-host to this
Woo!
podcast. And I'm just really excited because I get to do this with my best friend and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll still bring on, moms, guest moms and stuff. But yeah, from now on, you're going to be hearing a heck of a lot more of this girl. So
I'm so sorry.
I'm
I'm
not.
so
I'm very
excited.
excited. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, especially now that you're going on summer break from school.
Goodness, I needed it. 6 more days.
Yes,
6 more days. Yep,
perfect. It's going to be
I'm
great.
ready.
I know you're ready, and this will just kind of give you a little something extra to do. So then we'll get to hang out a lot more, even virtually will be better than nothing.
So
So,
excited. I can't even
yes.
explain.
Well, I am very excited myself. My headphones keep falling out, sorry. um, so yeah, we're gonna just kind of roll into this whole thing. We're gonna just bring up some topics every week and just have fun with it. So I'm really excited.
Yay! What's our first topic today?
So I think we had talked about we wanted to go over like our birth experiences, just start from the beginning,
Ooh,
you know?
explicit.
Yeah, no, I think from here on out these are gonna be explicit because it's you and me.
Yep.
So
You get nauseous. I wouldn't, I don't
it's
know, just have some Pepto-Bismol ready.
it'll be just fine. I think it's gonna be really helpful for, expecting mamas to have two
Mhm.
different experiences. Every birth experience is so different though. So I feel like it helps to hear from moms who have gone through it, but at the end of it, it's just another experience. You still have no idea, what you could experience, but you at least have some kind of idea of what might happen. Like 1 millionth of a possibility that this one experience might have some kind of role in my experience. You never know. So I feel like it's helpful to just talk about it.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly, especially knowing how many experiences there truly are. Where it's
yeah,
insane to think about.
yeah, it really is. Like, I don't think I've heard of more than maybe two people ever having like the exact same experience.
Right.
So, but it's always just kind of fun to hear other moms' experiences with it. So, I mean, you gave birth first if you want to go first.
Oh God. Yeah, I was the guinea pig of the group
You were,
because
you
it was
were.
one of three of us. Well, four. My sister-in-law was also pregnant, and then
Hmm.
two teachers at work were pregnant. So six. And I happened to go first, which was fun because I had no one to really relate to besides my mom, who gave birth that many years
30
ago.
years
I'm not saying
ago?
you're not supposed to say it.
It's
Um,
fine. We're the same
I
age.
did
Just
admit
shut
my
up.
age before. Um, but Maddie was actually 37. I was 37 weeks when I went in for a checkup appointment, but I already had hypertension. So my blood pressure was pretty high, and I had to go in for multiple checkup appointments. This was normal.
Hmm.
And when they saw my bottom number was almost 100, they told me that, oh, congratulations, you're going to go to the hospital today. You're going to have a baby today.
Yay.
And I was, I remember calling my boss because it was a grading day and say, hey, so remember I'm like due in 3 weeks? Well, that's starting today. My maternity leave starts today. And that
Goodbye.
was fun. But luckily I had everything set up, so that wasn't a problem. Nor should I have thought
Yeah.
about work. That's like a big thing.
No, but also I get that because if I had been in that position, I would have been concerned too. Like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I didn't get to finish X, Y, and Z project that I was supposed to do before I left, or I didn't
Yep.
get to finish training the person I was supposed to train to take my spot, so I get it, like,
Right. Well,
100%.
I was one of those moms that didn't have their bag packed for the hospital too.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
that was fun. Um, I'm gonna now get ready 2 months prior to having my due date.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
um, poor Brad, once again, like right when all these big things happen is right when he gets off the 24-hour shift. And I
Yeah.
was with my mom and I called him and I said, "Hey, so I'm having the baby. Can you come to the hospital that you were just at, please?" Because he was in the ambulance that day. He was driving the
Yeah.
ambulance. And I had my blood checked one more time. The only thing I really like struggled with understanding was at the doctor's office, nobody would do a manual check. It was only the
Mm.
machine, which I thought was interesting. And then when I got to triage in the hospital, it was the same thing.
Like, no one would do a cervical check?
Nobody would do a regular, like the cuff. It was like the only one they used was the
Oh, oh,
machine,
oh,
but
oh. I was like,
manually doing it
"What?"
themselves and listening and finding the exact pressure.
Right,
Nobody
okay.
did it. And I remember my mom, who was a delivery nurse for many, many years, was really surprised as well. And when we asked, they gave us like serious attitude. And me being already heightened and nervous, we were like, okay, you know what? I trust you. It's fine. Whatever. Um, but I thought that was interesting. I'm curious if other people had that
Yeah.
as well. Because later on, when I had a different checkup, I had a higher blood pressure according to the machine. But when they did it manually, and I had to wait 20 minutes because only one nurse was going around doing it, which is kind of a red flag
Hmm.
in my opinion. My blood
Yeah.
pressure was fine, but the machine said it was high.
You
So I
know,
don't know. It's weird.
I didn't have blood pressure problems, so I guess that's why it's not, like, dinging in my experience,
Hmm.
but I don't think I had anybody manually check mine either. I'm pretty sure it was just the machine.
You just
I mean,
rely on the machine.
we were at the same hospital, so that would make
I
sense.
know.
I don't see how they would have changed that from, like, the 1 year
Right.
difference.
But I thought that was
Um,
interesting is like 20 minutes later, when I'm even more heightened, like my heart is like pumping, I passed the test.
right.
So
I
it's
feel
interesting.
like if they know that you have blood pressure problems, then
Hmm.
maybe they should not rely on the machine. I mean, I get, like,
That's,
using it, but I feel like if you have blood pressure issues, I feel like you should always double check it
I know. So I learned a lesson.
manually.
I really learned a
Yeah.
lesson after that. So now I know to make sure to
Mhm.
do that. Because like when my mom was doing, that's all they had. They didn't have all the machines to rely on, at least not enough of them at the time. So she was
Right.
constantly doing it manually because they didn't trust the machines. So I thought
Okay.
that was, so I'm gonna have to remember that because every time I get my blood pressure checked, I have them do both, and it's always lower than the
Mhm.
machine.
Mm.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's something to think about. But
Yeah,
rolling
definitely.
back to the experience after they told me I had to get like one of the ones inserted into your hand instead
Mhm,
of like
IV.
through, yeah, and then they gave me another one through my arm, so I had two. Later
Why?
they took this one out for when I had to hold Madison, but I don't know
Yeah.
why. It's a good question. I'm sure they told me. We're talking almost 3 years later. That's why I'm
Yeah.
literally, because it's on video, I have my story here to just make sure
Oh
all
my
my facts are
gosh.
right. I gotta be truthful. So when I got into the hospital, like settled in, got a room, it was like 11 o'clock. I don't know why I remember that, but I do. And
At
I
night.
was like in the morning because my appointment was at
Okay.
10 for my checkup. And this was
Okay, I
on
was supposed to say that's a
November
long time to
1st.
wait.
I know. This was November 1st. It was a Wednesday. And I had my Halloween nails on that were really long. I was so unprepared. I looked ridiculous. I'm crying. I had no makeup on. I know some people like make themselves look really nice. I did not.
Mm,
I
me
didn't care.
neither.
I was more worried about pooping myself than I was
Uh-huh.
about looking pretty.
The accuracy. Yes.
But I was laughing because the one thing I remember is the day before, you and I went to Outback and I
Mhm.
had two entire loaves of bread And I think I had like two Dr. Peppers for the first time
Mhm.
because I hadn't had Dr. Pepper in ages. And I
Yeah.
joked and said, Outback caused all this. It's Brooke's fault.
Yeah.
I
Sorry.
remember crying and saying that in the hospital.
And
But
it's also funny because it was like she ended up coming out 2 days before my wedding anniversary.
yeah, and it was
So,
I'm still dying over Maddie's due date became Camden's
actual birthday. That I
actual
know that was
birthday.
hilarious. I was just waiting
Uh,
for Tab to fall in line there, but, she had
oh,
to
I'm
stay
her baby was cooking for a little
cooked. Cooked.
bit. But
Yes.
I had to be induced, right? Because none of this was already happening. And so I had to get Pitocin put in my IV, and it takes forever. Like they're like, oh yeah, some people get it right away and they feel something. I was 0 centimeters for
Mhm.
I don't even remember how long. Um,
Oy.
and then they did it was called a cook balloon. So if you ever look
Mhm.
up a picture of what a cook balloon does, you
I don't think I'd
insert
want
it,
to.
and then a balloon that's like a flat, think of like a balloon that's deflated, and then it blows
Yeah.
up over time into a massive balloon to help open
Yeah.
everything. And you
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
feel it. You feel it. Now, I'm not saying I was in pain. It felt like period cramps. Like it
Yeah.
was like constant cramping, but like the cramps that
Mhm.
you get used to. So it wasn't painful.
Yeah.
It was uncomfortable, of course. Um,
Right.
like going in, but I wasn't in pain at all. Nothing hurt. But it was like I think I got my first feeling of a contraction after like 8 p.m. So I was sitting in
Yeah.
that room
A
for
long time.
6 or 7 hours. And they were like, I remember every time they came, I'm like, please. And they're like, I think you got like half a centimeter dilated. And
Oh
I
my
wanted to look
god.
at them and say, but it
So,
was a long
w
time. It took forever for all of that to
yeah.
really start.
Now, were you in triage or did they put you in
They put me
a
in a
delivery
room.
room? They put you in a
Yeah,
delivery room.
they put
Okay.
me in a delivery room around 11 because I had my last thing of food before they gave me Pitocin, which was a cheese
Right.
pizza and fruit.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that's right. And then it took a little bit, but when the contraction started, like then things got going. But
Yeah.
it wasn't as fast as as any mom would be hoping for. But
Right.
like I finally did start feeling the contractions, and I'm trying to figure out how to describe a contraction.
Well, I think they're different for a lot of people. I feel
Yeah.
like mine when I because you'll hear all about my experience in a minute, but like mine were definitely felt like period cramps.
hmm
But I know that like I don't know. I mean, I don't know how other people really have felt with them,
Right.
but I know that that's how like mine felt. But I think other people feel differently.
No, I think that's a good way to like describe, especially the beginning.
At
And
the
that's
beginning, because
just
that's as
it's
far as I got.
oh, that's right. Okay, so it is very different. Um,
Yeah.
it just got more heavy of a pressure. And then I
Mhm.
finally started thinning. I remember it was about I'm looking at my notes. I was 2 centimeters when they checked me a third time. And then another 2 hours later, I was only 4 centimeters. So we're now well into
So
like
you went backwards.
1 a.m., 2 a.m. Oh no, no, I was 2 centimeters, then four. Because before I was
Oh,
only
4. I'm sorry,
half.
you broke up for a second. Okay. Okay.
I'm
Okay, that makes
sorry.
more sense. I was like, "Oh my god, you went backwards? That's terrifying."
Yep. And then they did another check, and I'm dying because when they did the check, I was more. And then I just remember saying, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I think I just peed on you." And my water broke.
Okay.
And so around five
Yeah.
centimeters was when my water broke. And then I went to use the bathroom and my mucus plug came out. Gross, by the way. Because I didn't even know what happened. Brad was there with me and helping me walk, and he went to go help me flush
Right.
so I didn't have to bend, and he went, "Oh God." It was just in there. But it
Oh, poor
was
guy.
after that I got the epidural. Now,
Oh, okay.
I don't know why, because they told me, like, I remember at our class, they were like, don't make it a competition of how far am I going to
Yeah.
go or how far is it. But like, I kept putting off the epidural and I kept saying, oh, no, 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 it's only like, because I said when I get to the number 10, do the epidural. And I was like, oh, it's
Right.
8.7. And then I was like, no, it's 9.2. And like, I just kept like getting closer, but I wasn't ready for it. So I kept giving
You were
like,
having a competition with yourself.
and then I had this wonderful nurse, shout out Alexis, saved my life, look at me and say, honey, you're hurting. If you're going to do the epidural, you better
Yeah.
do it now, or you're not going to get the chance. And I will
Right.
say the worst experience out of all of it, if pain wise, was the epidural. Now, I waited too long. So every couple seconds, I was having a contraction and they were
Yeah, I
very
can
strong.
imagine.
So getting the needle and then the other needle, and I'm moving. Like I'm trying not to
Yeah.
move intense. And the epidural did work. However, the whole right side of my body was numb. So I couldn't move my right arm. I had no feeling in
Oh.
my right leg. I couldn't even feel my butt cheek. Like, I mean,
Well,
that
you're
means
not
it
supposed to
went at
feel
an
from that far
angle.
down, but your whole
Yeah.
like your arm and everything. Oh my
I,
God.
so I
I don't think I
had
knew that.
oh, I'm sorry. But I had a doula with me, my mom's friend who was a delivery nurse with her. So which was amazing to have another person in the room, especially so my mom could focus on me and the doula
Yeah.
focused on the baby and the monitors.
Right.
Um, and so she was helping me turn and getting into different positions. And I remember texting you guys when they do your blood check, or I'm sorry, your blood pressure, to turn on one side to make sure that it gives you a better reading because you're immediately calmed down. So I got to look that up and I'll fill you back in on it. But
Okay.
she told me that, and I believe it was to turn on my left side. And they did the blood pressure check, and I was always in the clear. Again, for someone
That's
who had
good.
hypertension
Right.
and was always high, the second they did the manual and I was hooked up and they kept checking it manually, I was in the clear. So again,
Okay.
I remember Alexis saying that's very odd. But at this point, we were already in it. Baby was safe, baby was fine. I didn't care. But
Yeah.
oh my God, then after all of this happened, the doctor came in to do a check and said, "Oh no, you're only like 6.5 centimeters dilated." After all of that was all happening. And I was like, "Oh
Oh.
my God, are you kidding me?" Because at this point it was like 5:15 in the morning. I've been there almost 24
Yeah.
hours in labor. Um, and all of a sudden I was like, "Oh my God, I have to go to the bathroom." And Alexis was like, do you feel like you have to poop? And I said, kinda. And she said, oh my God, I think you're ready. Like 10 minutes after Dr. Levin left. And so Dr. Levin came back and said, oh, if I look close, I see the head.
Oh my
And
God.
it was that fast. Like it
That's
was
insane.
insane. And, like I gotta
10
bring this up.
minutes.
In the movies, when they're like yelling and pushing to get the baby out,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to do that. So I embarrassingly copied the movies and went, ah! Pushed the first time. And they went, honey, honey, no, no. You take a deep breath in, push for 10 seconds without making a single noise,
A single noise.
and then breathe. And then when you're ready, take a deep breath in and push again. Like there was no sound allowed, basically.
Yeah,
Now, I
because I
feel
feel
like that
like
would
if
be
you're
different
exerting,
if I was without the epidural. They might let you yell. I don't
yeah,
know.
I mean, I don't know, I feel like if you're like letting out noise, you're not really pushing,
Right.
like
And I
using
was
those
so
muscles
embarrassed.
properly.
You know how loud I
I
can get.
can, yeah, I can only imagine. Like,
Brad, I know, was like right here too. And he, by the way, slept the entire time I was going through all this because we both knew he would be dead to the world by the time when the baby
yeah,
came.
well, and
He had no sleep.
he had just gotten off a 24-hour shift,
Right. And I
but like
believe the
he
day
didn't,
before he played video games too. So we're talking more than that now.
yeah. Yeah, but I mean, he didn't leave you alone in it. You had your
No.
mom, and I know that if like your mom wasn't able to be there,
Hmm.
he would have that man would have stayed awake right by your side.
Right,
Like,
100%. And
but
I had the doula.
I think it's really important though that like the men are just as, they're important too. Like you want the support after the fact because
Right.
you just went through all of that. Your man needs to also be rested. So like if he, and like you were saying, if he hadn't just worked a 24-hour shift,
Hmm.
there was no doubt that he would have been like right there by your
Right.
side. But you guys talked about it and made that
Hmm.
decision together. And I think that's an incredible, like, that's awesome that you were able to
Right.
come to that conclusion and be like, it's okay. Like, I have my mom. You need to rest so that
Hmm.
you can be here after the fact. Like,
Right.
that's super important.
Yeah, exactly. It's good to have that kind of a plan set. I feel like even if he didn't have a 24-hour shift, I probably would have said, "Hey, take a nap before things get crazy, because when I fall
Right.
asleep, I'm falling asleep." And if it turned
Yeah.
into a C-section, I needed a longer
Right.
amount of time to recover,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to be the priority of getting baby to do A, B, C, D, whatever. And so
Yeah.
it's definitely good to go in with a plan,
Yeah.
even if you don't have a hospital bag and everything else ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, I pushed for she said, I'm reading it. I pushed for 15 minutes. Maddie was here. Uh
That's pretty good.
yeah, it was very fast. It didn't feel like it. I was exhausted. The amount of pushing you do, even if it was
Well,
15, it felt like an
and
hour.
yeah, but that you were in labor for like almost 24
This is
hours,
also
so
very
I would have
true.
been exhausted too. Like, my God.
Yeah, I don't know how some people do it. Like, I mean, the
Yeah.
constant of even just continuing to try. Like, I know every story is very different. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
laughing because I remember Alexis had a mirror and said, "Hey, do you want to see?"
No.
And I was like, "You know what? Okay, I'll look." And the second I saw her head, I went, "Get it away."
Go away.
I
I'm
went,
like,
"No, no,
yeah.
no, 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 no. Ew, no.
It,
I don't want to see it."
they told us that in the tour, in the hospital tour, and they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we have these mirrors right here. I was like,
Yep.
I swear, every single one of us moms in that room looked at each other and was like, hell no, I don't want to see that. Like,
Yep.
I'm good. I
I still
don't want
remember
to
it.
see
Don't.
that.
I mean, it's
I
amazing what your
can't.
body
It's
can
like,
do. I
right, but
learned
like, I don't
something
need to
new
see
that
it.
day.
I'm feeling it. I feel it. I don't need to see it. I'm good.
Yep.
I'm like so far good.
I hear you. I remember the pressure. I remember the feeling of when her head was out. No noise yet. And then the shoulders. I remember the
Hmm.
heavier pressure when her shoulders came out. And she was quiet. Like, she didn't scream right away. Brad went down, he cut, and when the pressure was all gone, was finally picked up, then she started to cry.
Yeah.
And it was like surreal. Like, it was so
Yeah.
surreal. She didn't even cry. Like, she stopped crying. She was so quiet. And then she
Yeah.
didn't even cry when she got her shots. She would lay it on my chest. I still have the picture of when they did that. She was 6 pounds, 13 ounces, my favorite number. And she was 13 inches long.
Well, yeah, she was little.
She was very little. But she did such a good job. I was so
Yeah.
proud. And I did a
And
kick-ass job.
also, it's crazy how little she was considering how large she is now. Or
I
like, and even
know.
like after that, like she grew so fast. She was always in such
Yep.
big, like much bigger sizes. And it's like, she wasn't even chunky. She was just like
I know.
everywhere. She was like tall and just long and like she was just so large.
Yep.
Like,
I don't know if you
so it's
remember it,
crazy
because
for that.
after she was born, I had to go after, like, you wait a little bit, of course, for recovery, but when you go to the pediatrician, I had to go for every single day for about 8 or 9 days
She has
because
jaundice, right?
she was
Yeah.
very jaundiced. Her eyes were like the color of your hair. I mean,
Yeah.
it was insane. If you got her just into
Yeah,
the light, I was
mm,
like, oh my gosh, like, it was crazy the color of
wow.
her eyes. And then she just sprouted at the same
Yeah.
time, and they're like, oh my God, she's 19 now. Like, she's doing a
Doing
really good
great.
job. She's not,
Yeah.
the color we want. She almost went back to the hospital to go under the
Right.
blue light. But luckily, they were like, if anyone ever hears that they have this as well, I had to sit in front of the window with her, an hour or so, take a break, an hour, take a break. Like she was constantly in the sun,
Yeah.
um, inside in the sun. But
Yeah. Like a
she
little
did it.
plant.
She did it. Yeah. She did a really good
Photosynthesize, please.
job. I was really, really proud of her. She did
That's
great.
awesome. Yeah,
But
she's
I'm
thriving.
excited to hear your story because this is going to be like polar opposite.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Well, it kind of starts semi-similar.
Yeah.
Like, we both went in for appointments and both ended up at the hospital the day of our appointments. So, but mine was like, I went at 40 weeks. I was exactly 40 weeks. And that's how I set
Jeez.
up all of my appointments. All of my appointments were set up to be on the day of my week. So, like, I knew every Friday was like, okay,
Hmm.
that's my like weekday. So I went in for my appointments on the days of like that I was like, oh, I'm 36 weeks, oh, I'm 37 weeks. Like, exactly. So
Good for you.
it was I don't know why I just needed it in my brain. And I was so happy that it was a Friday and it wasn't like a Saturday because I probably would have lost my mind. But so it was my 40 weeks with her due date and I was feeling perfectly fine. I was starting to have like slight contractions, but nothing nearly time to go kind of thing.
You just
Just
felt
like
like
they were
cramping.
very, very little. And it was not anywhere close together. They were like hours apart. It was just, okay, I had a feeling that it was going to be that weekend sometime or very early the following week. Um, and I went in to my appointment and the midwife, did all my checks. And I had asked her, like, hey, while you're doing the cervical check, can you do a membrane sweep, please? Like, I want this baby out. And she's like, "Yep, no problem." And so she did the check and everything, and then she's like, "So I did try to sweep as best I could. But are you sure she's head down?" And I just like
Oh,
I
that's
looked at
right.
Eric. Yeah, I looked at Eric and then I looked at her, I was like, I don't know. I mean, all of the other doctors and midwives for the past month have said she's head down. So
Right.
as far as I know, that's all I know. I can't see her, so I don't know. And she's like, "Well, I can't really feel her head, so I'm gonna go get an ultrasound machine and I'll be right back." And I was like, "That's really fantastic." And so
Oh,
she came back and did the ultrasound, and sure enough, she had flipped and her head was in my rib cage.
oh, and you didn't even
So
feel
not
any of that? So that's like what
okay.
blows my
So
mind with everything moving
what
around in there.
what had happened was, I know exactly when it happened, but I didn't know that that's what it was.
Right.
So, like 2 days before that, I was already to the point where I was only working half days at work because I could not make it all the way through a day. I was so uncomfortable.
Hmm.
So, I actually worked my last day on Wednesday and I was like, I'm taking my leave now. Like
That's
I can't
right.
do this. So I ended up going out. I already had plans to take Friday on my due day was going to be my last day regardless of if I went late because I was like, I'm not working past my due date. There's just no way. But I was just so miserable. So Wednesday ended up being my last day.
That was
And
smart. That was very smart.
yeah, yeah. And so my mom was picking me up from work half on those half days because Eric was driving me to work. So my mom was picking me up from work and she was like taking me anywhere that I could walk just so I could try and kind of like drop her a little bit.
Right.
So we had gone to the mall, we had gone just like to the grocery store. It was too cold to walk outside, so we weren't doing that. Um and so that day, she was low. She was so low, and I could feel that pressure. And my mom was like, all right, let's go to Target today. So we get in the car. And as we're driving, I like felt her move, and I was like, "Oh, that was a good one. It didn't hurt, but I felt it." I was like, "Oh man, that was a good move there, kid." And I stepped out of the car, and my mom walked over to me, and she's like, "Oh my God, she jumped." just from that 10-minute drive from the house to Target, she flipped and she jumped. So she was no longer sitting
Oh,
low anymore. And I was like, I knew I felt something. And I was like, that must have been when I felt that she like moved upwards. But I wasn't expecting that she flipped. I thought she just like moved up. So we
so
walked through
crazy. I'm
Target.
sorry, I'm picturing a
It's
baby jumping.
honestly, knowing her, she probably really did jump. And I just remember walking through Target and like slowly feeling her shift down a little bit again. And so as were going through, I'm like, oh, my mom was looking. She's saying, oh, she's getting a little lower. That's good. Maybe she just, I don't know, freaked out for a second. Whatever. So that ended up being what happened. She flipped.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, we were there, and again, due date 40 weeks. I'm already having slight contractions.
That was smart.
Nothing crazy, just, I was contracting. I don't remember exactly how many centimeters, but I think I was like somewhere between 1 and 2 centimeters dilated. So they were just like, you know, you're dilating, you are starting to have contractions, you live 40 minutes from the hospital. So you're gonna go to labor and delivery now.
Oh, what were you
I
feeling?
was like, all of the things. See, I was the mom that had my diaper bag, my hospital bag packed
Oh, I know. Y'all sent
since
me
like
pictures.
2 months prior. Yeah. As soon as we had the shower in January, I immediately had that bag packed with everything that I needed
That
because
was
I
smart.
just was so worried about going early and not having everything and just being so far from the hospital. I was just concerned about not being able to go home and get everything, or making Eric have to leave and then him miss something. So I was like, no, bag packed in the car 24/7. I
Right,
never brought it inside, it stayed in the car. So it's like, okay, at least I have all of my stuff.
right.
It's fine. But I ate. I had breakfast. So and that was only like 2 hours before my appointment. Not even
Yeah.
2 hours, maybe an hour before my appointment. So they send me over there, I get triaged, and the doctor came in and she's like, so, usually at this stage, we don't offer this. But she's really, really high up, so I'm comfortable offering it. If you want to do a version, we can try to flip her.
Oh.
Um, and yeah, so she was like, we can try it, but she is big. And you are 40 weeks. We don't usually do this past 36 weeks, but
Right,
again, she's so high that we're willing to test to try it. But she basically said, here are your options. We can try the version. If it works, great. We're inducing you. You're having this baby today.
mhm.
We could try the version. It could fail. We have to do an emergency C-section. So you're going to have the baby today. Or we could just do a C-section and you're gonna have the baby today. So basically, you're gonna have the baby today. Do you want A, B, or C? And I was like, well, I definitely don't want B because I didn't want to put her in distress and I didn't want to
Right,
be in an environment where things felt rushed and scary.
right.
So I opted for the C-section. I talked it over with Eric, cry my eyes out, but just like
Yeah,
I want her to be safe. I'm so scared of something going wrong, and I don't want to risk that. So we opted for the C-section. But again, I had eaten, so I had got pushed to the very back of the line because I had to wait, 8 hours for my food to go through. Um, so I was on the chart for like 8:30, I think, at night. And at this point, I had been there for already 8 hours. Like
mhm.
by 8 o'clock, I would have already been there for 8 hours. And I stayed in triage the entire time
They need to give
because
you a room?
they were, no, because I was in pre op basically. Like they knew I was going to the operating room, so they had to keep me right
Oh,
there.
okay.
So
Do you
yeah,
remember, because I'm curious, do you remember being hungry, having to wait that long, or was it just so much of everything that wasn't even the first thing on your mind?
I was hungry, but and you know how I get when I'm hungry. I'm a bitch, so I was worried about that. But honestly, I think there was just so much going on. Like, yes, I was hungry and I was feeling the hunger, but I
Mhm.
was so nervous and just ready to get that over with that I don't remember it really bothering me that much. I'm sure I mentioned it to Eric, but
I know you,
I
that's why I
don't
wanted to ask.
yeah, I don't really remember it bothering me so much. Um, so yeah, I know they took me to um when it was my turn finally, they took me to the room, left Eric behind, and I got in there and I told the anesthesiologist, I'm like, I am my spine is very sensitive. So I'm just warning you. Like if somebody even brushes their hand up against my spine, I jerk and it's involuntary. I just very, very sensitive spine. So I'm extremely, extremely nervous about this epidural. Um and C-section epidurals and regular birth epidurals
Mhm.
are very different.
Yeah.
The C-section one is larger,
Mhm.
longer, thicker. It's a shot. It's not a catheter. Um, so it's like a in and out kind of thing. But I just remember being really scared. Because Eric wasn't there and he couldn't be
Mm.
there for that. So, but the nurses and the anesthesiologist were some of the most amazing people. And there was a nurse that just like she held my arms and my legs and rubbed my arms and hands and the anesthesiologist talked me through the whole thing and she was really amazing and I was able to talk through her like tell her what I was feeling, where I was feeling it so that we could get it evenly spread out. um, did really great. She was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. You handled that like a champ and probably better than half of my patients do. So you did great."
Ever wonder if
And
they're lying?
then I do, but I really think that I felt like I did a great job. So I don't care if she was lying to me or not.
Right?
It felt great that
Tell
she
me to
said
make me
it.
feel good. Make me feel good.
Right. So, um, yeah, so then I was just laying there on the table and she was like, "I can't give you pain meds until the baby's out. So you're gonna feel," she's like, "You should really only feel a lot of pressure, but you shouldn't
Right.
feel any pain." So they started and um they couldn't numb me high enough for where Haley was sitting in my rib cage
Oh my
because if they
God,
had
that's
numbed me any
right.
higher, could have possibly numbed a lung. So I felt everything from them dislodging her from my rib cage, and it was the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life. Like, I just remember screaming bloody murder, telling them to stop. I can't do this. Like, just absolutely losing my
Oh
mind
gosh.
and tears streaming out of my face because it just hurt so bad. I could not. It just felt like somebody had a knife and was just jabbing it into my rib cage over and over again.
Oh my
And
God.
Eric's in my ear telling me, "You can do this. It's okay. You can do this." But once they finally got her out of my rib cage, then it was just pressure and it was fine. And I felt relief as soon as they got her out of my rib cage. It was
That's good.
insane, the difference. Um, and she took a minute to cry. And I just remember her like not hearing it. And I was like, "Why isn't she crying? Why isn't she crying?" And they were like, "It's okay. They just have to, get her situated." And then I heard it. Um, and as soon as I heard that, I just like felt the relief.
Mhm.
And then I started feeling like, I'm getting tugged around. And that's when I started feeling more things because they were
Ugh.
stitching me up from the inside out. And the anesthesiologist looked over me and she's like, "All right, girl, it's an open bar. Do you want anything?" And I was like, "Yes." And within a second, I was just like, my eyes, you can see in the pictures of me with like Eric holding Haley next to my head, my eyes were like glazed donuts. Just girl is gone to outer space. Like but it was just like the fastest relief over me.
Right, I'm
And I was just like,
sure.
ah, okay. I'm just
Happy Brooke.
glad. Right. And I was just glad it didn't mess with my memory because I know that sometimes those can really mess with you. But I still remember everything from meeting her for the first time and then putting her on my chest after they finished stitching me up. Um, and it was just from there on, it was pretty great. And the recovery was long.
Mm.
Um, but I mean, they stand you up after 24 hours. They say, bitch, get up.
Oh,
It's time to
does it
walk.
hurt?
And
Like, do you feel like the
yeah,
pulling? Because I didn't have any of that. Like, my
yeah,
sister-in-law did, but she also had like a bunch of other things. But like, that's all I
right.
could picture is like the pull.
Um,
Oh.
okay, so here's the weird thing. My Usually when after you give birth, regardless of how you give birth, C-section or vaginal,
Mhm.
your uterus takes time, like weeks to contract back to size.
Right.
Mine was gone the second that baby came out. Like my stomach was flat. As well as flat as my stomach could be, but like, like my uterus had completely contracted like right away. Even the
Wow.
nurse looked over my sheet and was like, "Where did your belly go?" And I'm like, "Over there on the table, I think. You just took her out." And they're like, "No, seriously. It's gone." That well, like everyone's probably like, "Oh, I wish I had that." That completely threw off my equilibrium. And that on top of having the C-section made it so much harder to stand because I had nothing balancing me out. So when I stood up after that for the first time, I just remember like I felt like a hook. Like I was completely bent in half. I could not straighten up because I had nothing there to pull me up.
Jeez.
So that made it harder, honestly, because it, I just didn't have anything there at all. Yeah, that was rough, and I couldn't lay flat for 2 weeks, so when we came home, we had to sleep on the couch,
Yeah.
because we have that electronic, like, reclining love seat, 'cause that's all we have in our house, and so he had one side of it, and he slept on that side, and I slept on the other side, and Haley was in her bassinet on my side, and we were there for 2 weeks because after a week, I tried to lay in bed, and when my mom was over and she watched me lay down, and within a second, she said, get up right now. You need to get up right now." And I'm like, "Okay, okay." And she looked at me over and she said, "Are you okay?" It's like, "Yeah, I didn't like I felt like kind of things were shifting a little bit." She
Ugh.
said, "Yeah, you went white. I thought you were gonna pass out." I'm like, "Well, I guess it's no bed for me for another week."
That's crazy.
Yeah, but after 2 weeks, I was able to lay back down, and yeah, I tell you, every mom, if you have a C-section, you cannot walk enough after your surgery. Like, from the second they tell you you can walk, you need to walk.
Mm.
Don't hurt yourself, but it's gonna be sore, but you need to move as much as possible. So, that first it was like 4 days postpartum
Mhm.
was or I guess it was 5 days, I don't remember, but I think she was like 4 or 5 days old. We went for her appointment, her
Mhm.
first appointment, and I was like, "Get me out of this house, take me out somewhere, just Target or something. I need to walk." And we walked for as long as I could handle it, and then, we went home, and then every day after that, because it was spring, so we could walk
Mm.
outside. Um, I was just on a walk every day, pushing the stroller, and Eric was like, "I'll push the stroller." I'm like, "I need something to lean on, so I need to push the stroller." And he would take it if I needed him to, but I was like, "I just need to do this." And we walked every single day until eventually it was easy,
Mm.
but it really, really helped I think my healing process a lot.
I have a question because I always ask
Mm.
this because I'm curious. Do you think if you were to have a second kid, that birthing experience would trigger you or make you not want to have a C-section again? I'm always
No,
curious to hear. No?
no, I don't think so. I mean, the part that I was scared of the most was the epidural going into
Mhm.
it. And with
Mhm.
how that went, I that part like made me feel better.
Okay.
Um the fact that she was in my ribs is what really screwed the whole thing up and made it so painful. Um but at the end of the day, I mean, I remember it,
Mhm.
sure, but it was such a short amount of time for me in the surgery, like it wasn't like I was in surgery for hours and hours and hours. I was
Mhm.
in, it felt like forever, but it really was over so fast. And I was lucky to not have any post surgical complications with my incision. Um, and my healing was really good.
Mm.
So I got lucky on that because I know a lot of people have complications with either their incision not healing properly or, they pull something on the inside, something might happen.
Right.
But no, I didn't have any of those problems. So nothing scarred me to the point that I'd be like, I can never do that again.
I hear you.
Yeah.
All
But
right,
like
warrior.
you obviously are doing it again. So your experience must not
Sure.
have, and you had a rough experience
I
further
mean,
going.
it'd be
So
nice to not have another second degree tear, but it is what it
yeah,
is. I healed just
that
fine.
scares me more.
Mine was the infection.
Yeah. See, you had the postpartum complications.
Yeah, it could always be worse though. That's all I kept saying. It could always be worse. It got everything healed up fine. I just
Mm-hmm.
had to take care of myself and it was fine.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean,
And
nothing
then,
really turns me off other than breastfeeding.
yeah. Yeah. And we'll get into breastfeeding in another episode because like that's going to be a whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I get scared. Honestly, I don't know if I would want to try for a VBAC or not. That is something that I kind of like struggle with, and I'm not even pregnant or even thinking about having a kid anytime soon, but that is something that I definitely struggle with because I do feel cheated almost that I didn't get to have an actual like I don't want to say actual because I still gave birth. It was still a birth experience. It was still really a real birth experience.
One
But
that
I
you
didn't
could
get to
control though,
yeah,
in a
well,
way.
I just feel like I got cheated out of experiencing the labor and pushing her out and being able to be the first person to hold her because I didn't get to do that. Um so in some ways I struggle with that, but I also worry about like tearing and there's just so many things that you could possibly worry about, and I don't know how hard it will be on my body to push after it's healed from the inside out. So there's just a lot of things that I have to think about with that, but yeah. I mean, a funny thing though from my surgery is they sent Eric over to look at Haley, get a picture of her weight, her height. She was 8 pounds 14 ounces and she was 21 inches long. And the doctor looked over the sheet at me and said, "Yeah, that baby wasn't flipping. There's no way she was gonna flip. So good call."
Yeah.
Um, but Eric went to go get her, and on his way back over, like holding Haley to me, the doctor straight up said, "Don't slip."
What?
And Eric like looks up, and there's just like bloody rags everywhere,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh my god." Okay. Just, like, kept walking.
That's what
So that was
happens.
yeah. Uh, alright, well, let's get into our product this week, which we wanted to do bottles. We
Yes.
both we both ended up using the same bottle, which was
Mhm.
the Philips Avent. I think you say it Avent, that's how I say it. The Natural Flow.
Yes.
Yeah, and those
It was
worked well.
actually recommended by my aunt who works in the NICU. And
Mhm.
she said it's really good because it lets the baby control it. It doesn't
Control it, you're right.
constantly drip. and could cause the baby to choke. And
Honestly, that was the
it's
best
like
part,
winter.
like, those never dripped. I never had a
Nope.
single problem. Even going up in size, I never had a problem with those.
Right. And at one point, I remember because it wasn't going fast enough, and my order for the next bottle size wasn't ready, and I took like a little pinprick and I
And
put a
just me,
couple
yeah,
holes in it because she used to say, excuse me, for the preemies, they would fill up a glove or like a cloth,
and then poke a
sorry,
hole.
and poke holes in it. So they were able
Yeah,
to try it. And even then, I turned it upside down and it had just the slowest drip,
yeah,
but she could so well, she controlled it
yeah,
so well.
yeah,
And I was in love with it because I never had a problem.
yeah. So are those the only bottles you ever used?
Yeah, I never tried anything else. It
So
was the best.
we started out with Philips Avent, but the anti-colic at the very
Ah,
beginning. And those were fantastic too. I didn't have any drip problems with those either. Um, they were great, but there's just so many parts to them. And
hmm,
then eventually, and then Haley had a lot of reflux problems. We had to put her on Pepcid because she had really bad reflux. And they were like, "Oh, try this different bottle." They wanted us to try the Dr. Brown's. So I was like, "Okay."
yeah,
So we picked up the Dr. Brown's. Them bitches leaked like you would not believe.
yeah,
She could not drink out of those bottles. Just you'd pour it, tilt it over, and just pour right out of the
yeah,
nipple. I was like, "These suck." Like, and some people, but it's crazy because there are other people who do not have that experience and they get like a good batch or something. But yeah, we immediately, I think we only tried them for like a day and a half. I was like, "No." And I went and got the Philips, the natural flow.
yep,
And I never went away from those. I just continued to use those. They were so great. Like you said, they didn't drip. She controlled it so much easy, and it was
yep,
a natural fit because I went back and forth between breastfeeding and bottle feeding, so it was nice. It felt like it was more of a natural what it was supposed to be, but I felt like she
right.
didn't have any issues kind of with like the back and forth, and I think that was really great.
Yeah, because Maddie
So
started drinking from the bottle, I'd say, when she was maybe 2 weeks, two
yeah,
weeks
I
old.
think
Because I had to
Haley
stop,
did too.
right? Because I had to stop breastfeeding completely.
Yeah.
Separate
Yeah.
story. And
Yeah.
no, she immediately latched on, and we used them throughout the duration. I mean, as far as
Yeah.
the bottles would take us, until we no longer needed them. But
Yep.
I loved that she could just control it and stop whenever she needed to, and it didn't continue to leak all over her or fill up her
Right.
mouth.
Or choker.
So it was more
Yeah.
closely related to breastfeeding than it
Right.
was to, anything else. So
Yeah.
that
Absolutely.
that was a winner for me.
Absolutely. 100%. All right. Well, this is really fun. I'm
It was
so glad that we got to
ooh,
introduce you as a official co-host today.
it was fun reliving that experience.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I need to go have a glass of wine now. No, it's fine. I'm gonna go
Reminding
to bed.
myself what I might be going through in
Yay! No, it's
December.
gonna be it'll be a completely different experience. And then
Exactly.
when you have this baby, we will have another story to tell. So
That's right. And I'm
it's gonna
going
be
back to
fun.
Howard County General, where we both gave birth,
Yeah.
because it was an
That's good.
incredible experience. So,
I loved it there.
no
Absolutely
regrets.
amazing. Perfect. All right, well, we're gonna sign off for this episode, but don't forget you can reach us now at thebestmompod@gmail.com. Send in your funny, crazy stories of your kids. We want to start doing mini episodes of reading these kind of stories. And I think it would be really fun. So send them in there, and you can reach us or find us at the Best Mom Pod on Instagram. And send us messages there. Send in product options that you want us to review, and we'll catch you guys next time. So have a
Yay!
great rest of your day or night or whatever you're doing right now. And we will talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.